It's time now for Big Witty Style with former Tory MP and Minister Anne Widdecombe. And Labour MP Rosie Duffield has faced an increasingly tough time in Parliament in recent months as her own party has repeatedly turned against her for daring to defend women's rights against the militant trans lobby. Here's just one recent example of the noisy pushback she has received from her own Labour colleagues.
This bill seeks to allow anyone at all to legally self-identify as either sex and therefore enter all spaces. Does he not understand how vitally important this is at the moment?
But she was booed by her own side. And in a rare example of the feminism bringing political rivals closer together, the Daily Express this morning led with a joint interview on its front page featuring Duffield alongside the brilliant Conservative backbencher Miriam Cates, who has faced similar abuse for her defence of women's rights, in which the rival MPs unite to speak out and call for the dignity of women and girls to be safeguarded. Duffield says she has found Tory MPs on the other side of the House to be unlikely allies, stating that Conservatives in Parliament have just been really kind and made life a lot more enjoyable being here. So, Anne, as Labour MPs like Rosie Duffield are hung out to dry by their own party, astonishingly forced to rely on the protection of Tory opponents, it really is time, isn't it, for Labour to actually stop its worrying war on women?
Well, of course it is. But, I mean, we've seen the Labour attitude towards women for decades now has been they've said one thing and done another, always talking about how they're the party of women. They've never produced a woman prime minister yet. And now we have the trans agenda, which is what is causing Rosie Duffield so many problems. And they're effectively just ignoring the plight of women who may find their safe spaces invaded, women's refuge, women's prisons, women's changing rooms, wherever you look. Ignoring that completely to the point where the leader of the Labour Party, the leader of Her Majesty's opposition, cannot say that 100% of women simply do not have a male appendage.
Yeah, and he still won't say that. He still will not say that. Look, elsewhere, Anne, let's call him a professional wind-up merchant, and the Ryanair CEO, Michael O'Leary, has once again overstepped the mark by suggesting that Brexit will be reversed within a generation because, wait for it, most Brexiteers will be dead. The controversial boss of Europe's largest, but I'd say shoddiest airline, made the controversial comments at a Bloomberg event in which he told the audience in the next 5 to 10 years, quite a number of the Brexiteers will die, as the average age of them is about 70. Younger people coming through are much more pro-European, and he went on to say everything that was promised to the UK population, the Sunny App plans and the ability to do trade deals everywhere around the world, were shown to be a tissue of lies. So, Anne, you're a staunch Brexiteer. Are you tired of nasty Ramonas like O'Leary speaking about the majority of the country in this way?
Well, it's not the first time that somebody has suggested that, eventually the Brexiteers will die off and then they can issue the whole question all over again. But what he said when he accused us of a tissue of lies about trade deals, you've only got to look at the Pacific trade deal, which we've just got. Now, when we joined the European Economic Community, it accounted for about 20% of global trade. Very respectable, good reason to join. Now it accounts for 8% and falling, whereas half of the world's growth over the next couple of decades is going to be in that Pacific bloc. And we've joined them. And the amazing thing is this, Mr. O'Leary, that they haven't demanded that we become subject to their laws. They haven't demanded the right of intervention in UK affairs. In other words, this is a genuine economic community with no political ambition.
No, indeed. And look, Anne, I've got to ask you about the dynamite political news of the day, but there's no conclusion. Will Rishi Sunak stand by his man, stand by his closest ally, or is he going to allow a politically motivated witch hunt, in my opinion, by the Westminster blob, to prove that actually they're in control of who can stay in cabinet?
Well, I think Rishi Sunak should make it very clear that he and he alone chooses the cabinet. And it is time. If there are grounds to do otherwise, that is a different matter. But it really is time that we started fighting back. And when I say we, I mean the body politic in general, against the politics of what Bill Clinton called the politics of personal destruction. And that has now become British politics. It's who hasn't declared something in the register. It's who did what at 16. It's who made an unwise tweet at 25. It's all about personal destruction. And that's got to be fought back against. And if the parties in Westminster have any sense, instead of maximising it, as they're doing at the moment, to their own advantage, what they should be saying is, OK, maybe to our advantage today, it's to our disadvantage tomorrow. Let's get together. Let's just fight back against this. Will they do it? Will they? Heck, there's no common sense in Westminster.
No, there's not anymore. What was that lovely music I could hear, Anne?
That was my cuckoo clock, for which I do not apologise, because it's
I love it.
And it chimes every hour, and it plays me a different tune every hour.
Oh, I love that. I know. I think there's got to be a comeback for cuckoo clocks, right? They are retro now, but they need to come back. I love that. I might consider investing in one.
In this country, Dan, but if you go to Austria or Germany or Switzerland, you'll find they're quite a big part of the economy still.
Really? Fascinating. Anne Widdecombe, brilliant analysis as ever. Thank you so much, Anne, and we will speak next week.